But now, my friends, we've arrived toward the end of the video. I am here to talk about my final prediction regarding Tomorrowland at Disneyland. I fear, my friends, that the People Mover at Disneyland will remain dead. The passage of time has weathered me down to a shell of my former self, and I don't think we're gonna get anything, ever. Why not talk about what comes next? What's happening in the future in 2024? And the first big thing that jumps out to me is the opening of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now that is confirmed for winter or late 2024. No specific release date has been given yet, but it is going to happen next year, as long as everything stays on schedule, which I think it will. It's moving along at a pretty brisk pace at Walt Disney World, and Disneyland is a couple months behind it. In other news of Disney attractions getting rethemes on the other end of the spectrum, remember at Destination D23 when Disney announced that the Country Bear Jamboree would be getting an update? I think that one's gonna fly mostly under the radar. I predict that some sort of news about the Disneyland Forward project will break, some sort of concept or discussion or approval vote. Something will make the news. It's not going to be very huge news, but it's just gonna be like, hey, Disneyland Forward, we're moving ahead. Everything's, pretty good. Nothing really concrete, nothing set in stone. Everything is going to be vague with Disneyland Forward until, the next 5 to 10 years. Also, on the note of new expansions, I think just one of the announced expansions that Disney was sort of blue skying back at D23 and Destination D23 will be announced and confirmed for, some specific timeline this year at D23 Expo. Maybe earlier, but probably at the Expo. Will it be Pandora at Disneyland? Will it be the Avengers E-ticket? Maybe Beyond Big Thunder Mountain or the Dino Land overhaul? Who knows? Could be any of those, none of those, or one of those, but I do think at least, or probably at most, my guess is that one of those will be announced, will be given a time frame, and will be officially confirmed to be moving forward at the Disney parks. It's no longer just blue sky. We're not just blue skying it. We're actually going to be doing this now. We're actually going to be building the Avengers E-ticket instead of just talking about it. And talking about it. Oh, haha, it seems that I wouldn't be as bad at predicting things as some people would be led to believe. 2024 is in the books, my friends, and boy, what a year it was. We're moving on to 2025 and to brighter pastures or darker fields, depending on who you ask. 2024 was very much a weird year for Disney. Lots of good things happened, lots of sort of annoying, poorly themed things happened, but overall it was a pretty solid year. And before we look forward to 2025 and what promises and gifts that might bring, how about we look back for a second at what we left behind in the year 2024. Some of my predictions from last year, and we'll reflect and see what ended up happening with those Beyond Big Thunder Mountain rumors, because I remember a year ago at this time nobody knew what Beyond Big Thunder was gonna be, but now, my friends, we know, for better or for worse. So, 2024. Compared to 2023, I think we had a very exciting year for the parks. A lot of openings, a lot of new attractions, and some improvements. I think improvements are slept upon more so than new rides and new restaurants and even, new lands. But I think we should begin with the main one, the big event, the one that everybody has been waiting for and did wait for and now can stand by wait for at Disneyland, Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
And she needs our help to go find it. So we're gonna join Tiana and Lewis. We all love Lewis, right?
Needs more salt.
We're all gonna take a magical trip to the Bayou where we're going to meet brand new friends to invite to the party, and they have a very special role in these festivities.
More about that in the near future. I'm so excited about all of these plans. So Carmen, Sharita, Ted, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Thank you for the fantastic work that you're all doing in bringing Tiana's first attraction to life.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure at Walt Disney World opened ahead of schedule, ahead of the late 2024 opening window that Disney gave it at D23 2022. The official opening for this attraction was June 28th, 2024, so it was open in time for summer, and I got to see it like a week before it opened during one of my Disney World trips, and eventually a couple months after it opened during another one of my Disney World trips, obviously. As we entered summer of this year and the scaffolding began coming down, the lights began turning on, and the music began playing and filling our ears with Down in New Orleans, a lot of people were either getting excited for this new attraction or toxic on Twitter/X about this ride. It's a bit of both for some people, but you know, you can say goodbye to Splash Mountain and miss what was and still be excited for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and that's sort of where I landed. And when I experienced this ride finally, I was thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly maybe is not the right word. I was 8 out of 10 impressed. It could have been better, but I do think that it was an improvement over Splash Mountain. Now keep in mind, I've only been on Walt Disney World's version of Tiana's Bayou Adventure because, yeah, that happened. So I did not get to go on Disneyland's, but I have heard that Disneyland's is a vast improvement over Walt Disney World's because the ride was probably designed with Disneyland's in mind first. Less real estate equals more animatronics and scenes crushed into one place, and that sounds like it would be a bad thing, but for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, I actually think that was a good thing, and it helps over at Disneyland. At Walt Disney World, it still suffers from empty scenes and some places that just drag on for far too long, and that is a problem. But Tiana's was meant to be that big deal, the big marquee attraction that Disney was opening in 2024, the year before Epic Universe opens over at Universal Studios. And 2025 looks like we're gonna get some shovels in the ground for some even bigger projects, but not quite yet. We're not looking forward quite yet. We're still, you know, doing a retrospective here. Did Tiana's Bayou Adventure succeed in the goals that Disney set out to accomplish when they were building it and retheming Splash Mountain? I don't think so. I think that the fog was a little bit overhyped and some of the screens are uncanny. And like I said, the lack of effective use of space at Disney World's version really dragged this ride down, but it's by no means a terrible ride. It's by no means a bad ride or an okay ride. It's still great, but it hurts that this 8 out of 10 could have been a 10 out of 10 if they had just given it maybe a little extra money, maybe a little extra time. But surprisingly, a retheme of an attraction that exceeded my expectations in 2024 was the Country Bear Musical Jamboree. As a Country Bear enjoyer, a Country Bear enthusiast, I was a bit worried with Disney replacing some of the classic Country Bear songs with Disney music. And honestly, I think they did an amazing job.
Over here.
Sorry.
Okay, everybody, now we're ready to start. Give us a little intro there, Gomer. Howdy, folks. Welcome to the one and only original Country Bear Musical Jamboree, featuring a wild and woolly assortment of grizzled old grizzlies singing a little country, a little western, and a whole lot of everything in between. So get those paws tapping and those claws clapping for 5 bears who need no introduction, but I'll give them one anyway.
I think the Country Bear Musical Jamboree was made with a love for the original show in mind. It still follows a lot of the original beats, but it's done in a new and refreshing way. It respects what came before, and it builds on the legacy of the Country Bear Jamboree instead of just trying to replace it, instead of trying to tear it down. Like how Tiana's improved on a lot of facets of Splash Mountain, the Country Bear Musical Jamboree improves on a lot of facets of the original. And this has taken Grizzly Hall from a once in a visit sort of attraction to a multiple times in a single day style ride, almost up there with the Tiki Room. It's not quite Tiki Room levels, but it's still really, really good. This is something I was admittedly doubting Disney on, but they have proven me wrong. I think the Musical Jamboree is wonderful. I actually want to hear some of your opinions down below, because I have heard that most people are actually pretty content and pretty satisfied with this new version. Meanwhile, something that wasn't pleasantly surprising, and was actually unpleasantly surprising with how bad it ended up turning out being, is Communicore Hall at Epcot. The rest of World Celebration, for whatever reason, is really, really good, but Communicore Hall, the outside is fine, but the inside is just completely one of the biggest missteps from Disney when I look at Epcot, even just theme parks in general, Disney parks in general. Communicore Hall was a very bad step, and I really hope that Disney takes these criticisms I had, and a lot of us have, to heart, and eventually improves on Communicore Hall, because I don't think they're going to tear it down and build something new after just opening it. But I really do think they need to to learn their lesson from Kunakor Hall, that it's not what we want from Epcot, and it's not what we want from a space in the Disney parks at all. The rest of World Celebration, like I said, is wonderful. Moana, The Journey of Water, is one of the best attractions I've ever experienced, walkthrough-wise, at least. And real quick, before we move on from Walt Disney World in 2024, looking back, I want to talk about the Polynesian Tower on the shores of the Seven Seas Lagoon near the Polynesian for the DVC members. Now, a lot of people were naysayers when Disney first announced this, and I gotta admit, I was too. But like the Country Bear musical Jamboree, it recently opened. I haven't gotten to see it for myself, but based on everyone's impressions and videos and pictures I've seen of it, I think that the Polynesian villas and bungalows, I believe they're officially called, are a success. This looks fantastic, I'm sorry. Where the Great Ceremonial House and the outlying Polynesian buildings are more of a reference to the mid-century tiki culture, the tiki movement, the new Island Tower is definitely more of an homage to actual Polynesian art and culture. Both certainly have their place. You have your Trader Sam's and your tiki culture and your tiki mugs over at the Polynesian, and then over at the Island Tower, you have your more authentic experience. It feels like they really put a lot of care and research into the decorations and into the theming of the Island Tower. It might not be as colorful, but it is more authentic, and I'm so excited to see more when I visit in a few weeks. Now, heading over to Disneyland, not as much happened over in Anaheim as what happened in Orlando, but we did get some new stuff. We got the new Haunted Mansion queue, which absolutely blew me away. It's everything I wanted and more. The new Haunted Mansion queue is absolutely amazing, and we also got a new, slightly reworked Magnolia Park at New Orleans Square. Kind of connected to the Haunted Mansion queue, but they were two separate projects. They are two different parts of New Orleans Square, but they did kind of go hand in hand, and they're both amazing. And then over at California Adventure, we really only sort of got the Deadpool and Wolverine story time. Not a whole lot changed there this past year. When you're looking for a big transformation that opened in 2024, we're gonna head to Downtown Disney. There we saw the brand new entrance opening up, a sort of homage to mid-century modern and Palm Springs. I really actually kind of dig it. Din Tai Fung finally opened. I have not eaten there yet. I have not gotten the chance, but good gravy, those dumplings look amazing. And we got new stores like the D-Lander and the new Avengers store. It's called, and the Avengers Reserve. And side note about the Avengers Reserve, I actually kind of dig all the little vignettes with the characters Rocket and Groot, Captain Marvel. Ant-Man and the Wasp are apparently hidden on the marquee. I think that's very reminiscent of like the old Disney stores where there would be little scenes throughout up above our heads, and this really harkens back to that. I think that's a really cool touch. And then, of course, as I'm recording this, today is Christmas Eve, December 23rd, and Disney has decided to open the Haunted Mansion gift shop at Disneyland. Right outside the exit for the Haunted Mansion, the Madame Leota gift shop is now open, and interior-wise, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. It looks very similar to the concept art. Here you can see the concept art that I was very excited about, very colorful, lots of knickknacks everywhere, and here is what it looks like, the final product. It's actually very, very similar, so I'm really happy about that. I do think the exterior could be improved a little bit. I don't think it's the devil like a lot of people do. I don't think it's the worst thing Disney's ever built. I do think it could use a little bit more sprucing up though. Maybe some rocks around the base to make it look more like it's more of a carriage house. But overall, yeah, 8, 9 out of 10, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm just counting at this point. That is a great addition. The Haunted Mansion is now ready to enter its full and final form come January when the original opens up, and all will be right with the world. But that's it for looking back on 2024. Overall, not a bad year, not an exemplary year, but we got what we wanted. And I think it turned out pretty good. But look me in the eyes and tell me this painting of Leota Toombs as Madame Leota isn't the greatest thing you've ever seen. And would you look at that? As soon as I'm done gushing about the Haunted Mansion gift shop, Disney goes ahead and proves me wrong with this horrifically terrible AI artwork hanging up there in the shop. It is a bad call. Disney, take it down. You commission an artist. You have dozens, hundreds even at the studios or at Imagineering who would gladly do a better version of this for you. Now to begin the second half of our video, looking forward to 2025, it feels like I'm beating a dead horse at this point when I say that the Disney parks are in a state of transition. Even more so now than last year or the year before. Even going back to the beginning of this channel in 2016, almost 10 years ago. I'm not going to think about that right now. I'm not old. Now, surprisingly, a few of my predictions for 2024 back from December 23 actually did end up coming to fruition, coming true. It's not like it was a wish, but I did talk about mainly beyond Big Thunder Mountain, how we would hear more this year. And my friends, did we hear more? Did we ever hear more? Also, on the note of new expansions, I think just one of the announced expansions that Disney was sort of blue skying back at D23 and Destination D23 will be announced and confirmed for, some specific timeline this year at D23 Expo. Maybe earlier, but probably at the Expo.
Set to begin this fall as we transform Dinoland USA into the tropical Americas. This work's going to begin in phases, making sure that you still have a chance to experience dinosaur one more time. We love our Disney villains, right? We love them. Their evil ambition gives us endless possibilities to tell brand new stories. Which is why I'm so excited to announce we are building a villain's land at the Magic Kingdom.
Now, honestly, this is a weird situation where Disney surpassed my expectations. I really thought they were only going to announce one of the two teased expansions from D23 2023 at this year's D23, but we did get both and more, actually. The Cars expansion in Frontierland and Monsters, Inc. at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So in terms of new lands and new attractions, Disney really did deliver in 2024. However, none of these are opened yet. These are just announcements. However, they are all going to happen. Josh tomorrow confirmed that they are in either planning stages or shovels are going in the ground. And we know this is true because of permits and land surveying that has been happening out beyond Big Thunder Mountain. And of course, who could forget about beyond Dino Land? Unfortunately, this does require them to fill in the rivers. But looking forward to 2025, what will we see close in order to make way for these new lands? The first thing on the radar to close in January of 2025, next month, is Dino-Rama. Dino-Rama, where all the games and Triceratops Spin are located in Dino Land, will be closing for good, forever, next month. And as Tomorrow said, it's going to be a phased closure of Dino Land. So while work is starting on the Encanto attraction where Triceratops Spin and Dino-Rama currently is, Dinosaur will remain open throughout all of 2025. Looking forward to the next year, Dinosaur will be available all year round, minus refurbishments and, average upkeep. It will be open in 2025, which makes me believe that it will close forever in 26 to make way for Indiana Jones. Now, honestly, I really appreciate it when Disney does these phased land closures rather than just closing down the entire land all at once, just to work on little bits and pieces of it. They did it really well over at Bayou Country, formerly Critter Country, at Disneyland. While the transformation isn't going to be as significant as the Tropical Americas, they closed down Splash Mountain first, started working on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and then the closer they got to the opening of Bayou Adventure, they closed down the Hungry Bear, and then the gift shop, and then the whole land all at once for maybe a couple of months before it all reopened all at once. It looks like it's not going to be quite the same with Tropical Americas. I don't know if we'll get Encanto before we get Indiana Jones, or if they're going to just close the whole land down at some point and then open it all up at once. But I think a phased closing and a phased opening of Tropical Americas is a pretty smart idea. Now, moving over to Epcot, Test Track will also open in 2025. Test Track 3, that is. And we've talked ad nauseum about Test Track 3 and how it could be one of the best rides Disney has made in recent memory, or it could just be, another solid thrill ride. Time will tell, and time is going to be telling a lot over the next couple of years because the parks, as I said, are in a state of transition. However, I am optimistic for Test Track 3. I hope they really go deep into the Epcot sort of spirit, the spirit of Epcot Center in 1982. We'll see, though. Aside from Test Track 3, which I am very excited for, 2025 seems like a sort of a slower year for Walt Disney World. We're getting the lounge near Spaceship Earth in the former Siemens sponsor lounge. We're getting a new take on the Little Mermaid stage production at Hollywood Studios, which I think is a very, very big mistake to put something brand new in this area when it is just begging for a wrecking ball, absolutely begging to be torn down. But, whatever, what do I know? We're also getting Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After, a sort of screen test for the Disney Villains Land coming to Magic Kingdom eventually, and that show will be held in the future home of Muppet Vision 3D, the Sunset Showcase by the Rock and Roller Coaster. At least we can all hope, right? Right. We have the new Zootopia show, Under the Tree of Life, replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug, Better Zootgether, which we haven't seen a whole lot for, and it's gonna be here within the next 365 days, so I'm interested to see more stuff being released, more concept art, and more behind the scenes being released for this soon. Also, the Pirates Tavern. No notes here. Looks great. And then last but certainly not least, wrapping up what's coming in 2025 for Disney World is the nighttime parade Disney Starlight. Dream the Night Away. Apparently they're planning on doing multiple iterations of Starlight, so the first one will be called Dream the Night Away. And a nighttime parade at a Magic Kingdom style park is my favorite thing. I'm so excited to see what kind of floats they do. It feels like it's sort of leaning away from the Main Street Electrical Paint the Night sort of fashion with the LED neon glowing lights. This is going to be more of like a pixie dust, more gentle sort of show than Paint the Night or the Electrical Parade. Now when we look at Disneyland in 2025, it's a bit bleaker. It's not bleak, but it's less being added than Walt Disney World. We're getting the Walt Disney Animatronics Show, A Magical Life. I almost said it's a wonderful life because it's like the day after Christmas as I'm recording this. And the Disneyland 70th anniversary will be coming to the resort. Now, I've made a video about how the Disneyland 70th could potentially be a letdown. I'm going to put a card right up there in the corner of the screen. You can see it. I believe it should be right there. And that'll go over most of my thoughts for the 70th, but it could end up being a great time, just depending on how much we get. Paint the Night is returning, a new World of Color show, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But as for new attractions, we're not getting any new rides like Walt Disney World is. We're not getting a new test track or the Coco ride. Those are all still pretty far off, but I do believe construction will start on the Avengers Campus expansion because the red car trolley is going away in 2025. So at least we're getting some sort of dirt moving for new projects, and it seems like we're always having dirt moving now at this point between Galaxy's Edge and Tiana's Bayou Adventure, New Toontown, and now the Avengers Campus expansion. And I love it. I love to see that happen. On the official list of coming attractions in 2025, they also list things like Halloween time and the holiday season and Food and Wine as coming attractions for the next year, but I'm not going to count them because they do that every year. Holidays and Halloween and Food and Wine, those happen every year and they're lovely, and I love to go visit during the holidays if nature allows, but it's not something brand new. We get the holidays every holiday, so I'm not going to count that. And I talked about Disney World for like 10 minutes, but this is about all Disneyland gets. The downtown Disney transformation might finally end up being complete. We'll see how long it takes for them to build the 2 new restaurants where Tortilla Joe's currently stands. But we got the DVC tower at the Disneyland Hotel. Tiana's is open. Now it's just time to sit back, relax, and enjoy Walt Disney A Magical Life, because that show is going to be something special. Let me tell you. But now it's time, my friends, to gaze deep into my crystal ball and make my educated predictions for what the next year has in store for us that isn't a test track or a festival. Gaze with me now into the crystal ball. Ooh. Oh, lightning lane. There's a little lightning lane in there, you see it? Getting down to brass tacks, talking logistical stuff now. I'm sorry for those of you who think 2025 will be the end of the reservation system and of paid lightning lane, etc. and etc. The way things are going in the world right now, I can only foresee these things getting worse, but at best, they're going to stay around the same way that they are right now. I'm sorry. They've been sort of loosening the reservation system at Walt Disney World with good to go days where you can just scan your pass and go into any of the parks as long as you are allowed to on that day, on that good to go day. But at that point, you have to check the calendar anyway. Just make a reservation. They are like never selling out anymore. The reservation system isn't a problem with days selling out so much anymore, unless it's, the opening day for something. As for announcements, big theme park announcements, I don't think we're going to see much in the way of announcements for Magic Kingdom, Disneyland, Epcot, Hollywood Studios. All of those have been announced already. They were announced at D23 and they were announced at Destination D23. I think this coming year in 2025, there will be another Destination D23, and if we get anything for the parks there, it will be something Figment related, maybe not necessarily a new Journey into Imagination, but something for Figment fans. And I don't think we're going to be getting a new Journey into Imagination or a new people mover anytime soon. However, I do think that 2024 is going to be the year of improvements, the year of announcements. We'll be getting special announcements about lands and things that have already been announced, like Monsters, Inc. What's going in the former Muppet Vision Theater? We still don't know that. We're going to get more specifics throughout the year as things get further and further into development and then eventually into construction. So this is definitely going to be the year of Disney building things. And it seems like the past couple years have been that way, especially with new Epcot, but things are about to be kicking into high gear. Let me tell you what, it's going to make the Epcot war zone in the middle, where World Celebration Gardens is now, look like child's play. Hopefully less intrusive on guest flow though. That was a big problem. We're not going to see any of the announced attractions open in 2025, and Encanto's not going to be in 2025. Villains Land definitely isn't going to be in 2025. Maybe we'll get the construction beginning on Coco. Also will not be in 2025. Like I said, there's going to be cranes and dirt everywhere, so just prepare yourselves in advance, my friends. I also don't foresee us seeing the construction for Avatar at Disney California Adventure start before the Avengers Campus expansion is completely done. So think 2027, 2028 for that sort of thing. And so, after having made my 2025 predictions, I wanted to hear from you all and feature some of them in a video. So I made my way over to Blue Sky at Offhand Disney, if you haven't followed me over there quite yet, and asked you, all of you, my friends, what your predictions for 2025 are. And to say that I got some great responses is an understatement. Dave Cross says they move Stantler and Waldorf from Muppet Vision 3D to the exterior of Rock and Roller Coaster and have them mock guests passing by. This, my friend, is an excellent example of kinetic energy. Go ahead and mark me down as a supporter of this idea. Stantler and Waldorf over at the Rock and Roller Coaster makes sense, especially considering Muppets are moving in at some point in the unspecified future. Leaf on Breeze says, I'm hoping for a surprise retheme of Space Mountain back to De la Terre à la Lune, or From the Earth to the Moon. That's the Space Mountain over at Disneyland Paris. And my friend, that sounds like an amazing idea. I think it's really sad that it's just been Hyperspace Mountain this entire time. I dislike Hyperspace Mountain, and I count my lucky stars it never appears at Walt Disney World and is only very seasonal at Disneyland. So we can only hope and cross our fingers that From the Earth to the Moon returns. Bad Mojo 13 says, hear me out. New Orleans Square is given a new overlay based on a classic Disney IP. Well, that's very interesting suggestion or prediction that you have, my friend Bad Mojo. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but oh, wait, hold on, there's more here. The IP is the Aristocats. Okay, now, you've completely lost me. The Aristocats, they are in France, okay? They are in Paris. It wouldn't really make sense in the land. Wait, hold on, there's even more. You said fun predictions, not probable ones. Oh. Well, yeah, in that case, absolutely. Fantastic prediction, Bad Mojo. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. More fun predictions, less Lightning Lane is going to double, triple, even quadruple in price predictions. We need more crazy things like this. And then, last but not least, my good friend Matt from Storybook Amusement says people move... Okay, that's... No. Video's over. We can't go a single prediction video without talking about a people mover. That's it. That's the end. I cannot do this. Not another year. I can't do this again. My heart can only take so much. Okay? I may have overreacted a touch there. Just a little bit. That is a fun prediction, Matt. Thank you for your contribution. And now I feel like that's the appropriate place to end this video because you got me thinking about people movers again. And that's gonna be the end card. That's it. That's the end card. I'm losing it again. I'm losing it. Okay, I was out of line twice there, and I will admit that. I think that I made a mistake. I got a little too emotional. Matt's a great guy. Storybook Amusement is a wonderful, wonderful YouTube channel, and I was just acting very inappropriately just then. You know, some people mention a people mover, and I see red, and that's not right. That's not okay. But I'm glad you're joining me here at the end card. Everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. My predictions about what is in the future, what's in the cards for the Disney parks, the continental Disney parks at least, for 2025, and a bit of a look back on 2024. Now, this is a discussion. I would love to hear your predictions down in the comments below and how you thought 2024 went overall. Oh, I think not a bad year. definitely not a bad year for Disney. We got some cool attractions. We got, you know, some announcements, plenty of announcements. In 2025, less announcements, but more construction. So I think looking forward, you know, to the far future, we're talking like 2026, 7, 8, that sort of thing. That's going to be when we're going to see a lot of these announcements opening up. And then we can finally judge on, you know, whether they're good or not. However, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. And if you're new around here and you want more videos like this one, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. The names that you see scrolling on your screen right now are the names of my lovely supporters over at patreon.com/offhanddisney. You can join their ranks for even just $1 a month. It will get you access to most of the perks, including early episode access and exclusive Offhand Disney videos that you can only get on Patreon. So like I said, just $1. However, if you'd rather follow me for free, not paying any money, I don't blame you at all, my friends. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and what is formerly known as Twitter at Offhand Disney on all of those websites, just to make it a little bit easier for you to find me. But that is everything for this week's end card and for this week's video. Everybody, again, thank you all so much for watching. I really want to know what you think is going to happen in 2025 specifically, not the far future, but just next year, the next 365-ish days in the Disney parks. As always, everybody, thanks again. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.